Ready to take your Power Apps to the next level? Imagine transforming your button controls with vibrant primary branding colors that not only pop, but also give your app a sleek and modern feel. This is ideal for businesses that utilize multiple branding colors or have primary colors that are in the mid-range of the color value scale to meet accessibility standards. By offering a versatile palette, it ensures all branding elements remains visibly appealing and compliant with accessibility guidelines. Before we dive in, we must understand what makes a button good. A good button is highly visible, clear in its purpose, and provides feedback when clicked. For example, we can clearly see when a button is active, hovered, pressed, or disabled. Primary buttons represents the most important action on the page. They're typically styled with bold colors that stands out and draws the user's attention immediately. These buttons should be used sparingly to avoid overwhelming the users and to maintain their significance. Whereas secondary buttons are often used for less critical actions, they are typically styled with an outline or less prominent color to differentiate them from the primary action. By understanding and implementing these distinctions, you can create a more intuitive and user-friendly interface that guides the users to the most important actions while still offering them flexibility. Well, let's get started. Alrighty, so we're gonna start with a blank app and then just move over to the components, add a new component, rename it. We're gonna do the primary button first and changing the width to 200 and the height to 40. All right, let's create some custom properties. There is dark mode. Input is going to be a Boolean type. Mode is going to be a function, and that is fine. Darken mode, default should be true. The display mode would be edit as the default value. The next one we are going to do is button text, whatever the button text should be saying. And we are going to change it to submit. Yeah, I forgot to mention, if you want your variable to be resettable, you can definitely check that. Go, and then we are just going to create another one. Border radius, this is going to be a number. Same thing if you want to check it. Default, we are going to put it as 20. Now we're going to create our output properties. Dark mode on is checking if theme mode is on dark mode or not. It's going to be a output. Let's do a Boolean. We can do that. The default value will just be whatever that mode is, dark mode. There you go. And then next one, we are going to do display mode. And this is going to be an output, just so then we can use this property for if statements in case we want to do that. And then change the default to look up to the mode custom property. Now I'm going to create another one. I'm going to call it left color hex. So this is going to be the ombre color on the left. You can click the reset. Guess what's coming next? That's right. We're going to do the right hex color next. And then we are going to do some font colors. Then we're going to do some font sizes just for the button. Some number, and let's do the default. And then we're going to do font, and same thing here if you would like it. We forgot to put the left color hex. So what we're going to do is, like, if the dark mode is turned on, we are going to use this hex color. If not, use the second one. Same thing on the right. There is that. All right, let's move on to the next one. We are going to do a tab index. It's going to be an input. The default is going to be a 0. Tooltip. It's going to be an input. Just going to paste that part. And then the next thing we're going to do is add a HTML value. Go. We're going to do a text input. And then we are going to do a button theme. Okay, it's going to be input data record. Then we are gonna do a on select and change this to an event. Alrighty, now we're kind of done with the properties. Let's move on to the actual component. We are going to insert HTML text. Okay, now we have the HTML text. Let's set the HTML text value to whatever your component name is, .html value that we have set earlier. So it's currently really nothing right now. And then we want to set the X to be 0, Y to be 0. We are just going to do whatever the parent height and width are. Just ensure the padding is 0 all around. Now we're going to go back to the HTML value and paste this in. The main difference is that the display mode is on edit. We are going to use whatever these colors are that we have set on the hex values, left color and right color. If it's not in edit mode, we are just going to set it to this gray disable color. All right, the next thing we are going to do is insert a button control. Just make sure it is the classic version. Right, there you go. And this is going to be lengthy, okay? So we really want to think about all the controls that the classic button offers us, because the modern controls doesn't really let us pick the hover color or press color or disable color. It just comes automatically. So because of, the overwhelming features of every single one, we only want to select properties that we want people to use or not. So just go down the line here. So the text, that button text, we already got that. Edit mode, just copy and paste this portion at this point with this button. And then we are going to say display mode. Whatever that display mode is, we'll do that. So whatever the component X position. Hi guys, I made an oopsie here. I just want to let you know the X and Y values are supposed to be 0. Length or width, same thing. We'll go down the line. Go padding, we're good. We're good with the padding. We can leave how it is. So for the color, we haven't gotten to that portion. So let's go back to our themes and pasting our theme color. So this is a record. Inside this is a record. There's a property for dark mode, and this is for the light mode. There are some repetitive colors here, so you can get rid of it if you like, such as the color. It's the same thing, either in the light mode or dark mode. It's the exact same thing. And then the color, so when I say the color, it's the text color. It's the same thing no matter what type of state it is. So you can either do self.color on the button property or do what I do, okay? So this is just optional. Anything with self color, we can do that. Disabled fill and color down here. It looks like this. Now we're going to go back to the button control. The padding is fine. So we got to the color portion. Dot button theme, dot dark, dot color. And then we're just going to do an if statement in front of it. So if the dark mode is on, then we are going to do the dark mode color. And then we are going to move on to fill. And I'm doing the same thing. If dark mode is on, do the dark mode fill, else do the light mode fill. And the border, we are just going to make this none. No border. We're good. I thought about it and realized how frustrating it would be to use the tab key to navigate the app without any visual cues indicating of my current position. So don't make the same mistake like I did. Just ensure the border style is anything else besides none. The focus border color, it's some value. Right now I am using the right color hex value, and then I have lowered down the border thickness to 2 instead of a 4. Border radius, we are going to set it to the border radius that we have created earlier. Okay, so we want to copy this and then paste it to all of the border radius controls. The multiple is gone, so I think you're good. The next we're gonna do the font type. This font. font size, then font weight. Font weight, I think I just left it. This is completely up to you. I don't really want the users to change the font weight. Either they want to be bold or semi-bold, whichever your preference is. I just left it as B. And the font style, same thing. Not a lot of people do that. Text alignment, very rare. Anybody use different type of alignment besides center for buttons. Vertical align, same thing. Now we are going to move on to disable colored. For disable color, we are just gonna do the same thing with the colors. Dark mode on, use the dark mode disable color, else use the light mode disable color. Moving down to disable fill, same thing, but the fill property. For this one, we're not gonna do any border. So whatever value you have, it doesn't really matter, and just put a 0 at the end. That is the opacity. Now we're moving on to the press colors. Like I was saying earlier, the color can stay self.fill or using the button theme. So complete up to you. I just left it as an option if you would like it. And the fill, we definitely want to change that. Same thing, if dark mode is on, use the press fill color. And moving on to the border, we want this to be transparent. We do not want this. So remove that. Any color you can select, whatever, doesn't really matter, and just change the opacity to 0 again. All right, now we're going to move on to the hover color. The hover color can stay self.colored, but this is complete up to you. But the hover fill, that is what's important for sure. This one's supposed to be hover fill, and hover color can be self.color or set it personal preference. Same thing for the hover border. All of the border colors is just not going to be anything. We can delete it and then select any color we like and then just change the opacity to 0 again. Okay, now we have the tooltip. We'll copy that and then move it to the index. Alrighty, are we done? Oh no, we're almost done. Now we are going to do on select. On select is one of the biggest reasons why we have to use the button control. Believe we are all done. So now the components is done. We really want to make sure it's everything that we're looking for because we're gonna make a copy of it. So if the first one is wrong, the second one's wrong too. I think it's very pretty. We can do mountains. Ooh, that looks beautiful. I want to use that, but it might not be a good example. I'm trying to look for a background that is dark and light. Do a vertical container. And this is just for the aesthetic reasons. You can just put boxes, honestly. App.width. App.height. Just rename it to main. And then we are going to add another container for the top, just regular container. Name this container light mode, and adding another container for dark mode. Just change the color to something light, and then you can do something dark. Add that button in there, testing it out to make sure light and dark mode is correct. So the default is on dark mode. We are going to turn that off, and we are going to do the same thing on the bottom, same thing here. And it is on dark mode on default. You want to make sure everything is looking great. Now we're going to do hover, click. It's good. On hover, click. We can definitely tell that it's clicked. And just make sure the on select is correct, working properly. You can add a random screen. Now we're going to say on select, navigate to the next screen. Sure, we can do fade, and we'll just copy the same thing down here. Go to your second screen and just insert any button so it goes on top. Put it somewhere that you can see so we can go back. Just navigate back and to screen 1. We'll just name this back to that. There you go. Oh, we'll play. We'll go back to make sure it works and click. There you go. Go back again. We'll do the same thing. Click. We're good to go. Now you tested your functions. we are going to do a copy of the primary button and just paste it. And we are going to rename this to secondary, and you are going to air out, which is not a big deal. Copy whatever you have renamed to. There you go. Boom. Now we are going to change the button theme. There's that. All right, so the fill would be the background color. So for example, we did light and dark. We just copy this, black on black. And then the fill is white. I believe this is the same thing, right? This is white and this is black. The next thing we're going to change is the width. So the width is going to be the same thing as that. We are just going to minus by 6. And same thing as that, minus by 6. And the X is going to be parent minus whatever cell width it is, divided by 2. Same thing with the height. For the Y, let's go in back into here and insert that secondary button. There you go. Okay, light mode. There's that. We are going to do the on select as well for this. And then we are going to play it. So we have this, clicked, and navigate to the next one. Go back, click, boom. So now I'm going to explain what the different theme colors are the difference. We are on the primary button and we have the fill, right? So this is transparent, which is light and dark, same thing. Transparency is only showing the HTML text. And then the color is the same thing. So these are totally optional. It's just going to be white no matter what. And then we have the hover fill. So if you were to take a look at this, is a, what color is that? It's a light color because it's on the dark mode. When we hover, we want to go even lighter to have that contrast that I am actually hovering over it. So when I hover, it goes even lighter. So for the light mode, because it's on the light mode, when we hover, we want to go darker. Like that, right? On the press version, we want to go even lighter if it's the dark. So it's the exact same color, but different opacity, 30% and 55%. And this is using a deep color. I wouldn't say deep, it's just deeper color. So if we were to click on it, click, right? There's that. I dragged my mouse out. And then if we were to click, there's that. When you go hover, you want to change the color. And then when you click, you want to go even deeper for the light mode. For the dark mode, you want to hover and then click to be even lighter. We also have a disabled color. So disabled color, light and dark, it's literally the same thing. So that came from the HTML text that we did earlier. If I was to go to the HTML value, and whatever color value this is going to be the disabled color. The color is the same. The fill is exactly the same thing. So whatever that color is that we have, that, and just 50% of that as the fill. Okay, let's move on to the secondary color themes. We can start off with the fill. The dark mode fill is whatever is on the background. So that is the curtain value. And then for the light mode fill color, it's white. And the color value, the text color, is going to be white for the dark mode for all of them. And then black or very dark to be the light mode font color. Your hover fill should be the exact same color as your fill, but in 75% capacity. But because I changed that with a 00, I can just change this too. And if we were to hover and then click, and it's working like expected. Same thing here. The hover fill is the same thing as the fill, but with a 75% capacity coming through. And then the press fill is the same thing with 50% capacity coming through. So the disable fill and color is exactly the same thing as the primary one, but because the actual button is smaller, we can actually see the outline in the background. And it is the same thing for light and dark mode. Now that you created your dream buttons, you're probably wondering, how can I share it to other makers? If you haven't done so already, we are going to create a component library for others to import a component into their own personal apps. Go to the Power Apps portal and then go to Component Libraries tab. If it's not there, go ahead and navigate to the More portion and it's probably under there. And for this, we are going to create a new component library. And there's this handy dandy tool of import components. I am going to import the button we have just created from the Power App to the component library. If you're watching this from the future, this feature may be retired or no longer available, but I'm pretty sure you can use copy code and then paste code to here. So what I recommend is to create the gradient already. So for our users who are not really good at Power Apps yet, they don't need to mess around with it. All they need to know is there's an on select of this button, this will happen. I created a blue-purple one. I'm just changing the left hex color, and you don't have to delete the whole thing. You can just comment it out if you don't like it. And then I am going to go back to the colors to do something lighter for the dark mode. And we are just going to put it in, and we're just going to add it to the screen. And then change one of them to light mode. The light mode is at top, the dark mode at the bottom. We are going to publish the component library. For the Power Apps to be able to grab component libraries, the Power App has to be in a solution. So I'm using an existing solution and I am adding the new component library and the existing Power Apps that we were creating the components on to the solution. Going back to the app that we created the component on locally on the app, we are going to insert the component library component using the insert function and navigate to get more components. And because we already have the other ones, we are just going to import the blue-purple version to this app. To add it to the screen, we will have to click insert and then library components. And then I'm just going to copy and paste to the dark mode. And there you have it. I hope this video is helpful. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell icon to follow for more updates.